Welcome to the Biz Gone Social podcast. We help entrepreneurs navigate how to get known, get customers, and get the edge over their competition. Here is your host, Lorraine Duncan.
So here we are on the Biz Gone Social podcast, and I'm so glad to be here. And my promise to you, as always, is I just want to give you a little bit of verbal caffeine that's going to energize your business and your marketing and help you stay social. After all, don't you want to be the business that everyone's talking about? I know I do. And I'm so stoked to have Michelina DiSibio with me today. Welcome.
Thank you, Lorraine. It's great to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I just love what you do. And so could you tell my audience a little bit about your business?
Yeah, well, thank you for asking the question. So I'm a holistic health coach. I'm a health and lifestyle entrepreneur. I run a global networking business that I've called Let Us Be the Good, a little play on words. I'm a plant-based lifestyle coach, and I help women start their own businesses in partnership with a wonderful company called the Juice Plus Company. So we really provide a clear and proven system for women to enjoy better health for themselves, but also to earn some extra income. And so what it started me on the journey was about 11 years ago now. I was diagnosed with something called osteopenia, which is the precursor to osteoporosis, which is bone loss. I was very young when I was diagnosed, and I really wanted to get to the root cause of why this was happening to me, because I had been someone who always thought I was eating healthy and doing all the right things. It turns out that a lot of the things that I and many others thought were good for you turned out to be really not so good for you. And so I decided to go to school. I became certified as a holistic health practitioner and have really enjoyed now motivating and teaching women how to take better care of themselves, and avoid the pitfalls that I experienced.
That's awesome. And I'm just curious, what is it? Let us be good.
Let us be the good. Yes.
How did you come up with that again? Or how, was it just something that came to your head or?
Right. Well, so I had heard the phrase before, be the good. And I thought, I really wanted to expand that and have a little play on words, as I said, because I do have expertise in the plant-based nutrition area. So lettuce was perfect, right? So not just me be the good, but let us all be the good, right? By helping one another to experience both better health and a little more financial flexibility by running your own business.
What would you say is probably the most important thing about being in business for yourself? What is the most maybe interesting and important thing about being in business for yourself?
So many things, Lorraine. That's a great question, but I'm going to start with mindset. Absolutely. Starting every day, knowing your why, being really secure and strong in your why. Why did you decide to go into the business that you're in? Really having that strong sense of purpose, that motivation. I highly recommend that women or anyone going into business for themselves have a goal card, something that they read every day. It serves as a positive affirmation to just remind yourself, why am I showing up today? What's the long game here? And also making sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that are supportive of what you're doing. They may not necessarily be in the same industry, but there are people that are there for you that will support you through the ups and downs, because the truth is, it's not a straight line to success. I'm sure I don't have to tell you that, right?
Right. I love that. I also think, it's funny, I have this little sticky note that says, I got this, because I always have to be reminded that I got this. And I've done other affirmations too, like, I'm enough. A lot of times, especially as women, sometimes we just don't think we measure up a lot, especially when we're in groups or whatever. Sometimes we feel a little bit inferior. And I feel like just saying that, really kind of helps me especially when I go networking, in person. It just gets me going. I was thinking about this is you talk about, health, and I hear you very coachy when you say something, mindset and stuff, but you work with a lot of people. And I would love to just hear about one, no names, you don't have to mention names or anything, but one really great example of someone that you helped and they're still moving forward and still, they're living a healthy life, and they don't have the same illnesses that they did when you started meeting with them.
Right. No, that's a great question. So the first person that comes to mind is someone named Amy. And Amy came to me a few years ago because she had an autoimmune challenge. And so she was a candidate for surgery, actually. She was having so much pain that the doctors felt that surgery would be something that could help her. And she didn't want to do that. She wanted to try and get to the root cause of what was causing the dysfunction, her system to overreact. And so we made some changes to her diet and her lifestyle. Namely, one of the biggest things was introducing more plant-based, concentrated plant nutrition. It's very powerful. And also a routine, an exercise routine that was something that was doable for her. So we helped her to build the habits to incorporate these two things, into her routine every day. And she's feeling great. She avoided going under surgery and is doing really well. And those are the moments that keep me really fired up, is that, if you are someone who is open to learning and to understanding what your options are, you'll be surprised at how your life can change for the better.
Yeah, it always amazes me when people go straight to an alternative that, like if you see some of these commercials on TV, for instance, may cause death. And I'm like thinking, I so would rather move to a more healthier solution than get put on like some medication that's going to make me sicker.
Right. And what's so funny about the word alternative, when I hear that, it always, amazes me that people refer to Whole Foods and things like that as the alternative section of the grocery store, right? All the alternative health is something that is not medicine, right? And I would propose that we think about it the other way around, that maybe we flip it and we start with getting to the root cause and starting with whole foods and lifestyle habits and sort of that, and consider the medicine and the surgery perhaps as the alternative.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of the book I read. I just recently read this really good book. And the guy, I think he was from one of the big medical colleges that they do a lot of research. I can't think of the name of it. Having a senior moment here. But the bottom line is he said somebody had asked him, how could we improve the healthcare system? And you know what he said? He said, there is no healthcare system. And
I agree. It's a sick care system, really.
That's exactly what he said. I mean, you said the rest of the quote. And I think that if doctors and everybody out there would spend more time on preventative,
yes, that
we would be a much better society. Yes, there's a lot of stuff wrong with our food right now, and that needs to be fixed. But there are so many healthy choices out there that can really lead you down the right way to eating better, having better health, and all that.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Today I posted on social, actually, Lorraine, that people have more allergies now. Do you think it's the food, or is it what's being done to the food?
I think a little bit of both, because I don't even think it's growing right anymore. I mean, that it's definitely, I mean, if you look, I try when I go grocery shopping, less ingredients is good.
That's right.
That's what I always tell myself. So I actually do look at labels, but the things that, for instance, the biggest thing I try to stay away from is sugar. And, but it's in everything. I mean, they even put sugar in salt. If you get the store brand of salt, sometimes there's sugar in there. Like, why do you need sugar and salt? So everything has sugar in it. I mean, there's other things that are bad, all the different, I think our corn isn't even corn anymore. It's right. Totally genetically modified. And
yes.
So, which is sad because I actually like corn, corn on the cob, and it's a summer thing to do, but it's like, you just don't even know what you're eating. So, I mean, I was down the road. I mean, I think I shared this with you years ago, is that I had these severe allergies, and it was probably that all these free radicals were moving around in my body because I don't have a gallbladder.
Okay.
And literally what ended up happening is I was on a Benadryl Zyrtec cocktail, or I should say the other way around, Zyrtec in the morning, Benadryl at night to get me through this season.
Yeah.
And if I use essential oils. And if I wasn't doing that, literally, I wouldn't even be able to talk to you right now. My eyes would be all watering. I'd be itchy all over and I'd be sneezing.
Right.
And because it's the season. All that to say is that I do not use Benadryl and Zyrtec at all anymore. Yeah. And I feel so much better because I felt like, that there's a song out there. I can't think of who wrote it. It's called Zombies.
Right.
I feel like a zombie in the morning.
Right. Well, congratulations. Good for you for healing yourself. And I love oils too, by the way, because guess where they come from? Plants, right? So plants are so very healing. But oftentimes when people have these sorts of reactions, it has to do with the gut lining. Perhaps they're, something that's called leaky gut, which we won't get into here, but it's a matter of healing the gut. And we know that having good nutrition, lowering stress, drinking plenty of water, there are so many things that work together to help heal the gut.
Before I get into 2 other questions that I want to ask you, I want you to tell everybody, if they were going to start on this health journey, okay, what would be the first thing that should be done to start on a healthy journey? Like maybe there's someone out there that, eats fast food all the time because they're so busy, not because they intentionally plan to do that, but they eat fast food all the time. They don't exercise because they have a very sedentary job. What would be the first thing that you would, if you were working with them, what would you, coach them on, or how, you know what I mean?
Right. Sure. Yeah. Because I run into this all the time. So it's a great question. So first thing I would do is have sort of an inventory of their day. I'd have them explain to me, share with me what your typical day is like and where are you feeling the most pain, if you will, right now, and then together looking at the person's schedule and figuring out what is the one simple change, one little step that you can take to move in the right direction. We know that, and I'm reading this book right now called Atomic Habits with my team. It's a book club that I'm running. We're doing it for 6 weeks. And what we know from James Clear in Atomic Habits is that if you improve just 1% every day, by the end of the year, you'll be 37 times better than where you are right now. So I just encourage everyone, think of one little change. I mean, I have many ideas I could offer based upon the person's individual lifestyle, right? It could be taking maybe the concentrated plant powders, or it might be drinking more water, or it might be, weaving in 5 minutes of meditation or a little bit of exercise. But whatever it is, we're starting really small, because the problem is that it's overwhelming when people think about the change that they want to make, and it feels like a lot. And so how can we break it down into the smallest, easiest bite so that it's something you can build on every day?
Yeah, I so agree with that, because it's like, I feel like sometimes when I take on a project or something, or even, I'm always changing my health journey. Just recently I tweaked my workout routine because I felt like it wasn't working for me anymore. And when I look at all that I have to do, it is so overwhelming. But if I just do one thing, I had an amazing weekend this weekend where I actually walked over 12 miles within the whole weekend, which is about, almost 30,000 steps.
That's right.
So it's like, and it's like, then I get back home, and yesterday I did a walk on the beach, but it was 2 miles. It's like, you're just not going to have the 6 mile walks, and like you could, but it's just like to find the time. But when you're away, it seems like I always find more time to do the long walks,
Yeah, but it's great that you did the 2 miles, and think about chunking it down, right? So 2 miles, if you did that 5 days a week for an entire year, can you imagine how many? That's a lot of miles you will have walked, right? Yeah, so just chunking it down.
And it's interesting. I have this watch that tracks it and everything, so I don't even have to and it tells me, by the way, because I do have a sedentary job. So it's like, it tells me when to get up.
Yes.
And I do. I listen to it.
Yes. That's great. That's what we call a visual cue, which is really important to get you going.
That's awesome. So we talk about all the good things of business all the time, and everybody wants to share all the good things and everything. But what would you say, because a lot of people here on this call are, they're literally going to be maybe starting their own business, or they're in corporate right now and they're thinking of starting their own business, or they're in the middle of it. And all of a sudden they're starting to feel some tug of war going on, or some of them are in their challenges right now. But what is the biggest challenge that you had in your business, and how did you overcome it?
Great question. So for me, and this is how I coach my team and even my clients to operate, it's building the right habits. And this is why I'm such a big fan of Atomic Habits by James Clear. And as I said, I'm teaching it now to my group through the book club. Success is a system, is the way I look at it. So the goal gives you a direction, so you know where you're headed, what you're going for. But the success comes from the system. It comes from the activity. It comes from the habits. So figure out what is the activity, the habit that you need to build and develop to show up consistently, whether it's every day or every other day, whatever it is that you need to do in order to get to your goal. And then follow the 4 laws of behavior change, right? You've got to have a visual cue. The craving's got to be there. You've got to have the response and the reward. And it's such a simple but powerful foundation. So it's about building the right habits to get you to your end goal.
That's awesome. I tell you, I've been talking to you. I'm getting excited talking to you.
Good. Well, good.
Like, I can see that you have years of experience, and that you are a very seasoned entrepreneur. And it just gets me excited, because for all of you out there that may have like a network marketing business and stuff like that, it definitely take Michelina's advice. So you talked earlier, and this is actually the last question. You talked earlier about educating yourself and staying on top of, your, everything you're learning with your health, with your business, everything. What do you do to stay on top of your game when you talked about book clubs, but what else do you do? What are some other things you do to stay on top, so you can be a better leader to your team, so you can be a better leader to yourself, and so you can lead others on the journey?
Yeah. So I start every day with the Miracle Morning routine by Hal Elrod. So he teaches about the savers, right? Starting your day in silence, practicing affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. So you don't necessarily have to go in that order, but doing those activities will help you get your day off to the right start in terms of your mindset. You're coming from a place of strength when you do that. I start with prayer and gratitude. First thing I say in the morning when I open my eyes is, thank you, God, for this day and the opportunity to serve others, because that's really my goal, is to serve others, because I feel that's my purpose here. So teaching the savers, I think, is super important, is getting into, and again, building the habit, right? So keeping the book out perhaps, or writing yourself a note or whatever, so that you wake up every day and you start with building that strong mindset. And it works every time.
Yeah. I find that I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs over the last couple of years, and literally everybody has, the successful entrepreneurs, everyone has some kind of morning routine. It's amazing. I got turned on to the Miracle Morning maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and it does make a difference. Although I had some of those practices in place, but some people that I talk to don't do the Miracle Morning, but they have similar practices,
right?
And I find them to be very successful. And I think no matter what time you wake up, it's like I try to get up between 4:30 and 5:30, because then I find that I have like the whole day to be able to do what I need to do, and I can get it in order. And so if whatever your routine is, just do something to charge your day, and I think it will really help you. Great advice. So if somebody, you said a lot of amazing things today, and I know it's like, if I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I want to talk more with you. And I'm like just saying, if there's anybody out there that needs to have a further conversation with Michelina, just definitely, how could they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so the best way would be to go through lettucebethegood.com, which is the site. So it's lettuce, like the lettuce we eat, bethegood.com. And there's a button there where you can schedule some time for us to talk. Or I would invite anybody to join us on the health events that I host weekly. Tomorrow night, I'll be hosting, beginning our May series, which is a cooking series. So we're going to be sharing some plant-based recipes every Wednesday at 7:30 in May. And if you want to learn more about what we're doing, you can also subscribe to my newsletters and or schedule time, and we can talk one-to-one. And I'm very interested in supporting others. So like I said, I would love to know what everyone else is up to as well, so I can support their businesses back.
That's awesome. Thank you again, Michelina.
Thank you.
And until next week, we will see you soon.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Thanks for listening to the Biz Gone Social podcast. Find us on Instagram at BizGoneSocial for extra tips. Check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, stay social.